Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Mrs. G. In this video, we are going to be looking at contours. Let's get to it. What are contour lines? Well, contour lines are lines that are joining places of equal height above sea level. So what we're seeing in the diagram here, we are seeing some circles, these, and we are also seeing numbers that are on each circle. So we're going to explain that, explain why numbers are there, and why it creates this pattern. So let us draw some contour lines. Well, contour lines, as we saw before, these are lines of equal height above sea level. What we have here, we are just seeing numbers and a dot above them or beside them, and they're scattered. So since contour lines are representing places of equal height, in order to create them, what you're basically going to be doing is connecting the dots. So you would connect places of equal height, or in this case, you are connecting the numbers that are similar. So we're seeing numbers that are 25, 50, 75, 100. So we are going to connect the numbers that we are seeing. So we can start here at 25. We're connecting 25. The contour lines do not all have to give you a shape. They can give you a line or whatever it needs to, as long as it is connecting the places of equal height. So we have done 50, now we have number 75. So we have done 25, we have done 50, and we have done 75. So we have 100 left, and we just connect just the same. So from looking at that, you would have realized that we have joined our places of equal height just the same as any other contour line would be done. So we would have created our contour lines. So we have noticed some things about contour lines, or some special characteristics, as we would call them, about contour lines. The first one is that these lines do not cross each other. They may run close to each other, as is the case here, or they are parallel to each other, but they do not cross each other. What we notice as well is that they all have a number attached to each one. Those numbers are very important as they are showing us exactly what height that line is representing. Another important thing about contour lines is that they give us the vertical interval. That is the difference in height between one contour line and the next. So we're seeing one contour line here, another one here, another one here, another one here, and so on. So what gives us the difference in height between it would have been called a vertical interval. So let us look at this, for example. We have 760 to 780. The difference here would have been 20. And between 780 to 800, the difference here would also be 20. 800 to 820, 20 meters just the same. Difference here is also 20 meters. So then that takes us to a question. In this question, it is asking, what is the vertical interval? You are going to write your answer in the comments section below. Remember that the vertical interval is really showing us or telling us the difference in height between one contour line to the next. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so. Remember to write your comment or write your answer to this particular question in the comment section below as well, and I will be sure to tell you if you are correct. So now that we know what contour lines are and what some characteristics of contour lines are as well, why are they important? Well, contour lines are placed on a map and they represent different landforms. So they show us what a landform would particularly look like on the ground. It gives us a pretty good idea just from looking at it, the shape of the contour lines and how they are spaced. It gives us a good representation of what the landform would look like in real life. So from looking at this one here now, you can see that at the top here, these would have been our contour lines at the top section. And at the bottom section, this is our 3D view of the particular landmark. So let us just compare what we're seeing here. We are seeing a little peak here, a smaller circle. It is the same as the little peak that we have here. On this side as well, we are seeing a wider peak than the one over there, and it is the same thing that we are seeing here. It is showing us what the landform actually looks like. We are seeing some form of land in between these two. We can see that it is relatively flat because it is spaced out so widely. We are seeing the same thing along here as well. So the contour lines, it gives us a representation of what the landform would actually look like on the actual ground. This is a set of contour lines, and this is basically pointing out different things to us. So we can see the white contour lines here that would represent the land itself. We can see the end of the contour lines right here that is pointing towards our summit, which is basically another name for our peak or the top or the highest point on the landform. We are seeing steep slope here. I'm going to explain that to you. But for the steep slope, just pay attention to how close these contour lines are. We have one here, one here, one here. They're very, very close to each other. So that is a steep slope. And here we have gentle slope on this side. You will notice that they're wider apart. Just the same here. So these are wider apart. That gives us a gentle slope. And over this side, it is a steeper slope because they are closer together. The contour lines are closer together, and we have identified our peak. So let's just look at that a little further. So the wider the spacing between the contour lines, the flatter the landscape is going to be. So once it is wide, the landscape is relatively flat. If they are close, the spacing between the lines is basically showing that the landform is steeper. So let us look here. We are seeing how this area to this area is relatively wide. We can see here between the contour line here is wide apart. So we can see that this area would be relatively flat. At this area where the contour lines are so close to each other here, we can say that this area would have been steep. You can see a steep slope there. And here again, where they are wide apart from each other, we can say that this area is basically flat land. Let us look at it in a little more detail. Similarly, we are seeing the close contour lines here. If you notice on the actual landform, this area is very, very steep. You would not be able to walk up this land just like that. So this is giving us a steep landform. They are showing the same representation there. In the middle here, where it is wide apart, you can see just the same that the land is basically flat in that area. Also to this end here, where the contour lines are wide apart from each other, you can also see that in the landform, it is giving you a flat piece of land. That is the representation there. So this takes us to another question. Here's the question: which side is steeper? Again, you are going to answer this question in the comment section below. Remember that the steeper sides would be represented by contour lines that are closer to each other, and the gentler part of the slope or the flat land would have been represented by contour lines that are wider apart. So I'm going to call this side X, and I'm going to call this side Y. So we have an X side and a Y side. Which side is steeper? Leave your answer in the comment section below. Now we're going to identify landforms using contour lines. So we understand contour lines. We have looked at them. We know what they are representing based on their shape, based on the space in between them. Now we are going to try to identify landforms as they are. So just to look at this one here, we can see that the highest point is right here, which is our last contour line. And similarly, we are seeing it here. And over this side, we are seeing two high points, one here and one here. Just the same, we're seeing it represented on the diagram here. We are seeing that our contour lines towards this side, they are basically close together to the top, and then they are wider apart at the base. So since they're close together at the top, that means this section would have been steep, and then they widen at the base, so it is not so steep anymore. You're expecting that sort of concave slope there. So it is the same thing that you are seeing that is represented by the contour lines. You should basically be able to look at the contour lines and see what the land would look like in a 3D view or on the actual land. So let us do some more practice. We are seeing on this one at the top here, we are seeing that on this side, the contour lines are very close to each other. So then this piece of land is going to be very steep. We are seeing the steep land here. We are seeing the peak, which is closer to the left-hand side over this side. We are seeing the peak to the left-hand side just the same. And towards this end, we are seeing that it is basically a gentle slope, and then it widens as it gets to the base. So it is gentle here and it widens as it gets to the base. So we can look at the contour lines and understand or predict what the landform would look like. Just the same for this one, we're noticing that the top of this area is relatively wide. So similarly, you can see a wider peak here, a wider top here. You are seeing that this section have contour lines that are widely spaced, that is towards the left-hand side, and closely together at the right-hand side. So wide space would have given you a gentle slope, and closely spaced would have given you that steep slope. We're seeing two peaks in this one here, a space in between, flat land there. So we're seeing that represented here, and the peak here and the peak here. Let us look at three more, just the same, peak here, smaller one here, wider contour lines to this end, and then our top. Then we have flat land in between, wider contour, smaller contour lines, closer contour lines towards this end. So that would show us our steep side of the slope. In this one, we are seeing a peak at the top. It's basically steep on both sides. And similarly, it is giving that to us as well. And the two larger top areas here, they are not, it's not a very small peak, so we can't expect that. We're seeing that wide as well, with a convex slope, just the same here. So that is exactly what we are getting on this end as well. So I'm going to give you the opportunity to try some and leave your comment or your answers in the comment section below. So I will do the first one for you. So you will simply match them to the landform that is there. So for this one, we have a wide peak here, not very, very wide, and then we would have a small amount of flat land here, then it increases slowly, and then you have a higher peak to this end, and this part of the slope is basically gentle. So we're expecting a gentle piece of slope, then a small rise, then a sink, then rising again closer to a top looking like that with a more defined or steeper slope on this end here. So looking at that, we can say that it looks like B would have been our answer for this one. So we are seeing that small rise there, and then at the top there continue and go up, and then we have that steep slope on the opposite end. So for number one, it would have been 1 and B. So you can just write your answers for 2, 3, 4, and 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in the comment section below. And again, I will surely go ahead and let you know if you are correct. If you have not subscribed to the channel and you're a geography student, or you would like to continue seeing videos like this, please ensure that you go ahead and subscribe to the channel as well. Detailed explanation as well as notes that you can copy is available on the blog. The blog is natkeneducation.blogspot.com. That is www.natkeneducation.blogspot.com. So let us look at some particular landforms. This is a high landform that is over 600 meters with steep slopes. So that is a mountain. The difference between a mountain and a hill is that the mountain is over 600 meters. For you, it has to be that way for you to call it a mountain. So we are seeing 200 meters where it starts here and it ends at above 3,500 meters. So just some additional information. A line of mountains is called a range, and the highest point in a mountain is called the peak or the summit. This is an example of what this mountain would look like if we were using contour lines only. Remember that on a map, you are basically looking at the ground from above. It is an aerial view. So it is just the same here in the 3D view. Same thing here, it's just that in this section you are looking at it from an aerial view, so you would see the contour lines in this way, you would see the full circles there. Now we're looking at hills. The hills are lower than mountains. Some important hills that you should pay attention to are conical hills as well as isolated hills. So conical hills, this one has a cone shape or it is cylindrical in appearance, and you can see that the land is rising gradually on all of the sides, so it creates some form of a cone. This is an isolated hill. Isolated means by itself. So this is a hill which stands out in low-lying region. So looking at the contour lines, you can see the 0 here, which is basically at sea level, 0, 25, then 50. And then that piece of flat land basically continues here until right in the middle section, you have just a small hill that is standing out, and the entire region around it is low lines. You can see the 50-meter contour line here as well that continues all around it to show that it is a generally low-lying area. This is a plateau. A plateau is a flat-topped hill. You can notice on this side you are seeing the flat top here, and it's very, very wide. This is a deeply dissected plateau here. It's just the same. Flat top here as well. It was. Then the erosion from the water here, that would have dissected it. So you end up with a small peak there, one here, and another one here. So these are some landforms that you can look out for when you are actually doing your map reading. Here is a bonus section that we're going to be looking at. Just to ensure that you understand fully, we're looking at the types of slopes. So the first type of slope that we're going to be looking at is a concave slope. So this part, very important, you know that a cave is basically a sink or a dip or something underneath. You can use that to assist you in remembering the difference between concave and convex. So concave slope, this is what it would look like. It is giving you a little sink in the landscape there. These ones, the contour lines are far apart at first. That is at the base here. We can see how they are far apart at first, and they become closer towards the highland. So far apart here, so it gives you a gentle slope. Closer towards the highland, so it gets a little steep. That would have been your concave slope. In a convex slope, when somebody is vexed, you can expect them to be a little puffy. Similarly, here in a convex slope, you are expecting a little area to be puffy. These contour lines are closer at the lower levels. We can see the lower levels here being closer, and they become wider towards the highland. Wider towards the highland, closer towards the base. So that would have given us a convex slope. Another one that we can pay attention to is a uniform slope. Uniformed meaning that they're evenly spaced, so it gives you almost the appearance of a straight line. That does not look straight. We can do that again. It gives us the appearance of a straight line, yes, all the way up the hill. So that would have been a uniform slope. You could also see a stepped slope, where it looks this way and it gives you a step-like appearance. That is when the contour lines, you have them wide apart from each other, but as they are wide apart from each other, they get closer together. So these would have been a set of contour lines, then there's a wide space, then another set of contour lines, a wide space, another set of contour lines. So it would have given you a stepped shape. Now, here's another question for you. I want you to name the slopes that we're seeing here. So for this one, we can see that it gives us a straight line going up. This one, we can see a bulge in this particular slope. And this one, we can see a sink in this particular slope. So you will name them as 1, 2, and 3. So you can write your answer in the comment section below. Write the answer for 1, answer for 2, as well as the answer for 3. Our next video, we are going to be drawing cross-section. Please ensure that you tune in for that one as well. I hope you understand what we have done so far in contour lines or contours. If you do not understand, feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below and we will be happy to respond to you. Thank you for watching. Please ensure that you share this video with your classmates, like it, follow us on all of our platforms, ensure that you use the blog to get notes for your classes. That is natkeneducation.blogspot.com. Leave your comments and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. It is always a pleasure to assist you.